Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to dive into a pretty unique philosophical guidebook to life. It's all based on the writings of an author named Su Fing, and it tries to tackle some of the biggest questions out there, like where we come from and where we're going. So let's get right into it.
So the author just kicks things off with this incredibly direct question. It's something we've all probably wondered about, right? Why are we even here? And is there a right way to do this whole life thing? This explainer is basically going to walk us through the author's answers one step at a time.
All right, so this guidebook starts right at the beginning, the very beginning. The idea is, before we can figure out how to live, we first have to understand where we came from in the first place. Now, at the very heart of this whole philosophy is this concept, the greatest creator. The thinking here is that life isn't just some random chaotic accident. Nope, it's the product of an intelligent designer, and you can actually see the evidence of this designer's work all around us. Okay, and this is where it gets really cool. This idea of a book without words. The author is saying we don't need to go digging through ancient texts for proof. Instead, all we have to do is just look. Look at the world, and maybe even more importantly, look at our own bodies. They're seen as having this pre-written program already inside. And here are 3 really specific examples to make the point. Think about it. Why does a mother's body start producing milk only when her baby is born and needs it? Or why do our eyebrows just know to stop growing while the hair on our head could grow for feet? The author points to these kinds of intricate, automatic systems as proof of a caring, intelligent program designed by the greatest creator. Okay, so if we're working with the idea that we come from this intelligent source, the next big question is, how are we supposed to live in the world it made? This next part is all about the author's practical game plan for that journey. This quote right here is absolutely key to the author's whole take on living with purpose. It's basically saying that if you're always busy with a million little things, you might experience a lot, but you'll never become a master of anything. You'll never find that depth. So the author paints this picture of 2 totally different ways to live. On one side, you have a life packed with endless chores and tiny tasks. It's broad, sure, but it's shallow. On the other side, you have a life dedicated to one single focus, and that's where you find depth, mastery, and this feeling of freedom and efficiency. The goal is to swap that wide, shallow road for a narrow, deep one.
So how do you actually stay on that focused path without getting totally eaten up by stress and anxiety? Well, the author offers up a toolkit, a set of 3 core principles he calls the 3 magic weapons for living a life without worry.
Let's break them down real quick. First, believe in the greatest creator. The logic here is simple. If this amazing intelligence designed you, it's not just going to leave you hanging. It'll provide for you. Second, believe in karma. Cause and effect. Do good things, and good things will eventually come back to you. No need to worry if things are fair. And third, just do your best. Handle your business, fulfill your responsibilities, and then, and this is a hard part, let go of the result. Okay, so we've got our starting point and a map for the road. But where are we actually trying to go? The last part of this whole guidebook is about the final stop on the journey, what the author calls heaven.
And this is where the philosophy takes a really sharp turn. According to this text, there is just one single requirement for reaching this destination. And get this, it has absolutely nothing to do with all the stuff we usually think of as a successful or good life.
The one and only requirement is reaching a state called Usi Wu War. It basically translates to complete and total selflessness. It's not about the things you do, it's about your inner quality, your state of being. The idea is that your very nature has to become aligned with the selfless nature of heaven itself.
And to really hammer this point home, the author gives a whole laundry list of things that do not count towards getting into heaven. In honesty, the list is probably going to surprise you.
Just look at this. Power, money, being smart, even being a hero, none of it matters. Even stuff that seems really spiritual, like what religion you follow, or building churches, or even doing good deeds and saving people's lives, according to this philosophy, it's all irrelevant to that one core requirement, selflessness. It's a pretty radical idea, rejecting all that external stuff for a purely internal state of being. So as we start to wrap this up, the author makes one last really important point about this entire system of thought. It's a choice. And, well, it's not a path for everybody. Yeah, the author straight up says that this path, from understanding the greatest creator all the way to achieving total selflessness, is incredibly hard. He says these truths are really only for a small number of people, and that most of us just won't be able to do it. And that's not meant to be a criticism, just a fact of this particular path.
So we've just walked through an entire roadmap for life, starting from an intelligent creator, moving through a life of deep focus, and ending at a destination defined by pure selflessness. Which leaves us with one final question, and this one's for you. Does this map, this particular journey, resonate with you at all?